Hello and welcome back. So far we have covered if statements and we learned about else. So we now know if else statement as a block. Now the missing part is elif statement. Now let me do this in progress and go to Jupyter Lab. Now elif statement. What is elif statement? Let me tell you about this. So far, and let me make this markdown. So far we only checked for two conditions, which were if and else. No more than two so far. When we need more than two conditions, we will use elif statement. Now let me show you how we use it, namely if elif, another elif, it goes on, then else at the end, and let me show. And first we check with if, then if there is a condition we check with elif, another condition check with elif again, another condition check with elif again, and this elifs may goes on however you want. And finally, if none of the above are true, it will come into else statement. So this is the general syntax of if, elif, else statements. What is elif? Where does its name come from? Actually, elif comes from, I will use backticks, el comes from else, and if is from if. So it's elif, the abbreviation of elseIF. In many other programming languages we use as elseIF. In Python it's elif. So now let's see with an example. We will ask the user to enter a number. Now, and we will check if the input is positive, 0 is neither positive or negative, or negative. And we will check via a function. Okay, let's define a function. Def is positive, no parameters. We will ask the user to input a character. Input is built-in function and it returns string. Remember that. Now the user input, please don't name your variable as input, because input is a reserved word for Python. It's not a keyword. You can do this, but if you do, you will overwrite the input function of Python. Please don't do this. So your variable is user input. User input is input function. Now I will say, please enter a number. Okay, we now ask for the input, and when the user adds the input and press enter, hard sentence for me, press enter, then we will cast input into integer. Okay, integer, which is done via int function of Python, and we will call the result as n. N is int of user input. Okay, whatever the user enters, we will cast it into int. Cast means convert, remember that. Then we will check our conditions. Check conditions. First condition, if n is greater than 0, right? We will check for positive. Then if that's the case, we will print positive. Now the second case is being 0, right? We use it with elif. Elif and equals, equality check, two equal signs. If elif n is equal to 0, print 0, and the final condition is else print negative. So that's how we build if, elif, else conditions. Now let's run our function and let's check it. Let's test it. Please enter a number. I enter 8. It says it's positive. Great. Again, please enter a number. I enter 0. It says it's 0. Again, please enter a number. I enter -9, let's say. It says negative. So it works fine. It works fine, but it has bugs. We will fix them in a minute. Before that, let me write here an important sentence regarding elif. Important, you cannot use elif without if. It's not allowed. Okay, you cannot use elif without if. For example, let's say you have a variable here and you say elif a is equal to 1, print a is 1, and else print not 1. Okay, now if we run this, you will see you will get an error, syntax error, because you used elif without if. Python first is expecting for an if you are using elif. Okay, keep in mind. Okay, now let's do an exercise, and let me write exercise, a complete exercise. And we will define a function. Define a function. The function will ask for a number between 1 and 7, okay, from the user. We will decide the day of the week via this number. The day name, actually, name of the day. And our function, let's call it day of week. Def day of week. No parameters. First, it will ask the user for a number, right? Ask for number of the day, and we will call it as number of day. This is our variable, and it will come from input. Please, we will ask the user, please enter a number, and we expect what it will be between 1 and 7. Okay, and since this is string, we have to cast it into int, and now I got the number. Okay, and we will define a variable for name of the day, and the variable name is name of day, and it's empty string to start with. Okay, now we will check our conditions. First, if this value, number of the day, which user enters, if it's equal to 1, which means the first day, and name of the day will be Monday, right? The first day of the week. elif number of day, I mean this one, is equal to 2, which means name of day is going to be Tuesday. This is the second condition. elif, the third condition, number of day, if it's equal to 3, okay, name of day will be Wednesday. Okay, and I will copy this. If it's equal to 4, which means Thursday. If it's equal to 5, which means Friday. elif Friday. Elif it equals to 6, which means Saturday. elif or else, we only got the last condition, so I will say else name of day is equal to Sunday, the last day of the week. Okay, now we decided the name of the day. Now we will return name of day. I will say return name, my variable day. That's my function. Now if I run this function, it will ask a number from the user, and according to that number it will first convert it into integer, cast it, then according to that value, if it's 1, it will say Monday, it will decide name as Monday, and it will return Monday to me. Okay, let's check it. Now enter a number of day. 4 is Thursday. Okay, that's great. Again, let's run it. Day of week, run it. It says enter. I enter 7. It says Sunday. Great, 7 is here. Okay, it doesn't assert any conditions. At the end, I will come into else and I will say Sunday. Okay, now let's call this one more time. I will enter 1. 1 is this condition, so it will be Monday. If I run this, it says Monday. Okay, it works fine, but has bugs. We have to fix these bugs. We have to refactor our code to fix these bugs. Let's stop this video here, and then in the next one we will fix the bugs in this function, and we will do a much more decent function out of this. Okay, see you in the next one.